Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome. And welcome to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern and talk about guns for an hour. We got Clover. No, we don't have Clover. What am I saying? We have Cycle Camp jumping in from Connecticut. Thanks for joining. He's muted.
Oh, thanks for asking. Sorry, slow on the switch today.
We got Gary jumping in from Kansas. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for the invite.
Dog's jumping in from Nevada.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And Woods coming in from Washington.
Thanks for having me, G.
You bet. I'm down here in Tucson. And did Clover have a show today?
That's a great question. I honestly
I looked all over for it. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Okay. I couldn't find it either. So maybe you just didn't have a show. We are on the Daily Gun Show. It's episode 689. We're okay, Gary knew what it was. So we're doing episode 689. It's a Thursday, so we normally talk about training on Thursdays. And it's the 5th anniversary of Gun Channel, so we talk about that. And got a bunch of people watching. We consider this an effort towards the new media, so we're hoping that people will feel welcome to join us with the text chats that are out there and be part of the conversation. And I don't know. I don't have much of a schedule. Been doing a bunch of things this week, so the schedule is shuffled. So I don't know where we want to take it. We got training or CCW as our general themes for Thursday. But where do you guys want to take it?
Well, if you guys want to talk about training a little bit, we were just talking before we started. I was thinking about buying my mom for Christmas, getting her her membership to her local range, so that way she can train more. So training is a gift.
I like that idea. I know my dad should shoot more. I mean, I should take him out, but he's a retired guy. He could be there when nobody else is there. It's a great idea.
Yeah, if my kids would pay for my range time, I would gladly accept that gift.
I think people would go more when it's a gift because they feel like they want to waste your gift.
I think my mother would. She'd at least go once, which I know would be more than she's gone in the last year. And if she did get any trigger time, I'd be happy.
Yeah, I kind of agree because I know my dad's from that generation and he hates to waste any money. So if I paid for it, I think if he paid for it, he'd be less likely to go because it's his money. But if it was my money, I think he'd make sure he used it all up.
You could go further with challenging them with like Ghosts Drill of the Month or like a target each month, a different target, or go with them.
I see that takes to the next level. That'd be kind of a cool idea. Like give them the range membership with a box of targets that you've got different drills written on. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think offering to go with them is the more enticing. People like doing stuff together. So.
Yeah, I always enjoyed the range more when my kids go along with me.
It's kind of like a gym membership. You give somebody a gym membership, you never know what they're going to do. But if you give them the membership and then you say, "Hey, I'm going to the gym. Let's go together," it's a whole different story.
I pretty much only go to the gym, take a shower, so I'm not looking for a gym buddy.
If my mother lived close enough, I'd drag her out to the desert to shoot with me more often. But being the state away and all.
There needs to be like old folks home teams, or like clubs where they go to the range.
That'd be kind of cool. I dig that.
Or how about an old folks day, like they have ladies' day sometime, maybe an old folks day.
Yeah, seriously. Pick them up and take them down. And I mean, most of them probably are familiar anyway.
Yeah, shoot at a bingo card, kill two birds with one stone.
That's a great idea.
Dude, I would go to a bingo shootout.
I'm normally a fan of promoting things, but there would be like no room at any range if old folks started playing bingo at the ranges. You put a piece of you tape the piece of tannerite to the back of the winning bingo thing.
Yeah, shoot out the right number and be the winner.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
What about giving a kid one of them calendars where you have to get the candy or whatever, except you shoot it each month? Is that bad?
You know, my wife did something kind of like that. We had one of those little advent calendars, and she put a single round of ammunition behind each day. So every day I got a different ammo.
So you guys are telling me that the advent calendars, you don't just open them all the first day? I would have all the ammo the first day.
Or Tom?
My wife was clever. She'd put the one in the morning when I was still asleep in the calendar, so that all the other days would be empty if I opened them early.
Yeah, when I was flying to Tulsa, I had a concealed carry magazine with me, and there was this younger gal in the seat next to me, and of course I thought I was going to get all kinds of shit. And she's looking at the ad saying, "Oh, I really like that gun." And I give my husband ammunition he tells me what kind of ammunition he wants, and I buy it, for him for his birthdays and stuff. It was really great. I thought that was pretty cool.
Wow.
That's a relationship that's going to last.
Yeah, it turns out he used to be a concealed carry instructor. He used to instruct for the test. So it's pretty cool.
What part of the country?
Oh God, I don't remember. That was what, a whole week ago. My brain has edited out all those brain cells already. They're gone.
You remember being in Tulsa?
Vaguely.
That's how we know you were really there.
So going further on that old folks training thing, has anybody ever heard of any classes that are like for seniors?
I haven't. That might be a niche in the market that we need to tell some trainers to get on.
Well, you have to have targets with much bigger circles on them. Like they have to have the bigger dials for the telephone and all that kind of thing.
Well, I was just thinking it's a generation that's got a bunch of money.
Well, I don't know if anybody's ever put together like a practical senior carry class. We talk about training and going and running courses and stuff all the time, but I don't know anybody who's actually thought about addressing a course specifically for what seniors might find useful.
Yeah, you got the specialized issues they have of limited mobility and sometimes the arthritis in the hands, and it wasn't that supposed to be one of the reasons for the new 380 EZ, right? Was to have something they could rack a little easier and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I know my dad recently switched to a revolver from his car because he couldn't get the rack back anymore.
I'll tell you what, that's a real thing as far as the arthritis and even the carpal tunnel and stuff like that. It makes it hard to do anything with your hands.
Well, yeah, that's a shame.
That's
why I'm really surprised they don't make a larger caliber of the Beretta Tomcat. Wouldn't a Beretta Tomcat 9mm look just be a cat's ass?
There's this article from 2016 Wall Street Journal that talks about people fearing crime, so they flock to the ranges, so they're trying to make it look like people are all paranoid. And they got some numbers in here someplace that the number of people involved in target shooting with handguns has gone up over the years. And they keep showing mixed checks as some sort of an indication of something going up.
Are all those the tops of all that pointy line there? Are all those when the Democrats have control? Is that how that works?
I don't know, but I suspect some of these are when states bring on universal background checks, and all of a sudden every single
Yeah.
transaction needs to go through a NICS, and then they act like it has some, some reaction to politics or something. They're desperate to make sure that people think that the world revolves around their news coverage of things. Then they go to say that it went up, but nothing in here really about seniors, just that there's a demand for seniors, but no numbers about senior citizens and what their numbers are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be, I mean, it's great that, they're out there doing the target shooting, but I think like an actual CCW class on that would be a really good thing. Because, I mean, my mother's never going to carry like I do. And when I get older, I'm not going to carry like I do. So somebody who's older who's getting into it could definitely benefit from a class more geared towards them.
I've seen older people in classes, but I don't think I've seen one specifically towards older people. I think it's more of a trying to get a class to fill with older people.
That's true.
Maybe in cities or something.
Yeah, just think of the money you could make. You could make like appendix carry depends. With a little gun pocket there in them.
Wow.
Yeah, I got him. I'm having an odd day. Well, that's what happens when you break your wine glass early in the night. You get all cranky and weird.
It's not the only one you had, was it?
Yeah. No, God, no shit. I got a whole cabinet full of them, but this was one that didn't have a stem on it, so I totally forgot it was there when I put the laptop on. I knocked it on the ground. But one of the it's funny you talk about the old folk, but that's how I got my Massachusetts carry permit with an unrestricted permit. Was when they asked for the justification, I told them I was old and I was an easy target, because I'm old, fat, and slow. And they said, "Oh, well, in that case, here's an unrestricted license." So I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
I need to timestamp that, and in some years, when it's my time to ask to renew my permit, I'm going to be like, "Well, he got his for these reasons, and I'm claiming the same thing."
Exactly. Yeah, when I renew, I'm going to use the same language. But it is true, I mean, old people get picked on a lot. So I think it's pretty. It's something that older folk ought to think about. They're a more at-risk population. Especially for crap like parking lot stuff and carjackings and crap like that.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know my dad's 80 and he doesn't go anywhere without his revolver now. So when I was a kid, I don't remember him carrying, but he started carrying after my brother and I started probably 25 years ago.
Like keeping on this kind of theme, we've touched on the older side of the question, but let's go to the younger side of the question. If say you have, youngsters in the family that are coming up and they're going to be old enough to get their concealed carry permits. I mean, a lot of us talk about buying youngsters in the family, their first handgun or their first rifle or anything, but would it be a good gift to give that, like pay for their CCW class, or if they already have a CCW, to pay for them to take a training class? Would that make a good gift?
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously I would think so. I do think it's interesting. Like some states, in Washington, we don't have to take a class. You just show up at the 911 place and you get your fingerprints and they send it to you in like 60 days. We don't. That's the reason ours doesn't recognized by many states, because we don't have a class.
Okay, but how about in your case then? Would, instead of helping them get their CCW, since they can get it that easily, why not like toss in and be like, "Oh, hey, go take a front sight class or go take a Jaeger class or something like that"?
Yeah, because I would never take something like that unless somebody else paid for it. I'm just too, I'm just too lazy to do that stuff. And I mean, you know, I listen to Dano talk about it all the time, and I'll tell you what, that sounds like some pretty harsh stuff. At least the one he took with you know, the short bald guy.
Jaeger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking, because one of my nephews, I mean, this year I'm paying for his CCW. I know I'm giving him that. Last year I helped him get his first handgun, but I was debating, you know, because his brother bought his handgun and got his CCW this year also, but I didn't help with that because he didn't ask me. But I was thinking about getting the two of them training classes possibly and having them come out and take training out by me. So
Yeah, that'd be slick if you have something local. I mean, we don't have anything like that local in Connecticut. I mean, God, we scare all of those guys off.
well, I mean, I'm sort of being the cheap uncle by telling them to come take the classes by the place that's near me, so that way instead of paying for a hotel, they can stay at my house. But
Well, I have a nephew that I've given I don't know, a shotgun and a revolver to. I mean, he's what, 23 now. I mean, he's still in college, and I just didn't want him to have nothing over in college. But it does make me think about even an intro to handguns. I mean, I know he knows handguns. He shot with me and my brother for his whole life, but you know, those handgun classes talk about, you know, we can tell him as his dad and his uncle until we're blue in the face all the things you should think about. But kids don't listen to their family sometimes, but they will listen to somebody else sometimes. So that actually makes me think about that'd be a great kid.
well, yeah, and especially because then you're paying for them to go and not only have someone talk to them about it, but they'll actually get a chance to get some hands-on motor experience with it.
And they'll have a credential instead of just, I was told a bunch of things one time by some people. Now they have a credential, you know, a certificate or graduation from a class or something.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I didn't think of that. Yeah, I think it's some of that though. You gotta take the person into account. Like, you know, I might not be that into a self defense class, but I would love to take a course in long range shooting. You know, long distance shooting. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be.
I think there's just something really neat about being able to ring steel at, you know, a half a mile and that kind of thing. That's just, it never ceases to amaze me that people can actually do that shit.
All right. So I think that means that we, again, situational depending on the person, but I think we all agree training to some extent is an acceptable gift.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do ranges have gift cards and things like that?
Some do.
Yeah, ours does.
Gift certificates usually. And if a place doesn't have gift certificates, it's worth bugging them about it because it's not that hard to get gift certificates, really.
Yeah, even places that don't have formal gift certificates, a lot of times will allow you to prepay you know, a day or a week or a membership or that kind of thing. I mean, they're a business too. They get their hands on the money. That's cool too.
All right. So anybody have any other training topics?
I was curious. You know, we always had working dogs that were, you know, hunting dogs. And I just wondered if I know a lot of your dogs, you train them for like strength and all that kind of stuff. But do you get into that at all about training them not to be gun shy and stuff like that?
My specific thing, all my dogs have to be trained guard dogs. So yes, gunshots is an absolute must when it comes to them. It's very difficult finding places that'll let you bring your dog in though.
Oh, so you do that training yourself. You don't farm that out?
No, it's something that I used to do that as part of my career. So I just teach my own dogs.
Oh. Because you don't see that advertised very much. You don't see, you know, Barkey School for, you know, bullets and dogs or whatever.
To be honest with you, outside of the hunting community, and most of the hunting community seems they've been doing it generationally. So they tend to already teach their dogs for, you know, bird dogs and things like that. And then the other category of dogs, guard dogs, canine units for police and military, most of those training sessions aren't open to the public. But it would be an interesting.
That kind of makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, with the hunting crowd, it's probably a lot of word of mouth.
It's a lot of word of mouth.
I had a friend that had their family dog was a dog that washed out. Like it was a puppy, a hunting dog puppy, and it didn't like gunshots, so they just had to sell it as a family dog.
Yeah, that definitely happens, especially if it's coming from a breeder who specifically does hunting dogs. A lot of times they'll pre-train the dogs and they weed out the ones that are too gun shy.
Hey, dog, forgive me if I'm wrong, but you take your dog way beyond just taking it to the range. You actually go train with the dog in multiple different places and in activities, correct?
Yeah, my dog will clear a building with me, to put it in short. When I talk about gun training with my dogs, my dog actually, I do more training that replicates more of a military standard for what a canine's supposed to do. If that answers your question.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I wouldn't even know how to go about that. I could train a hunting dog, but I wouldn't even, but I do like the idea of just getting my dog used to more than just shotguns.
Yeah, I mean, that's again, when you talk about training, it's one of those things I always tell people, you start off with the pups young and you slowly work up the caliber. Shotguns, because there's so much bass, they're not as harsh on the dog's ears. Right now, there's only one company that makes hearing protection for dogs, and they're relatively new. I'm trying to get some stuff that I'll tell you guys about when I get it, see if I can test it, because I'm always concerned about AR-15 gunfire and the like with my dog's ears, especially in enclosed spaces.
Yeah, I'm between dogs now, but I mean, I always just did the old. I'd start with 22s and then eventually graduate to like a 410, and then go to 12 gauge. But I just go out in the middle of the woods, and every time I shoot, you get a piece of whatever the food is. You get a treat, you get a treat, shoot, get a treat. To where pretty soon, like my dogs, the 4th of July, they thought it was the greatest thing ever because they're gonna get.
Yeah, they're looking for the handout, right?
They're not right. They're like, this is the coolest thing ever, and I keep the training going. So I just sit there, with the here's some more. All right, here's some more.
Well, okay. and that's exactly how you do it. That is exactly the process for starting a dog to get them comfortable with gunfire. When you start getting into more advanced stuff, like like I said, talking about when you take a dog to clear something or anything like that, then it's about teaching the dog where to stand and how to position. That can get more complex. But if you just want your dog to not be afraid of gunfire, you do just like you said. You start off with a 22, shoot, treat, and slowly up the calibers until you get to where you want to stop at, or until you get to a point where you see that it's painful for the dog.
So I have a related question. The last gun dog I did, this is, I'm between dogs, like I said, but when I got him as just a little puppy, I went to like Goodwill or something, and I just got a couple pots and pans, and every time I'd give him a treat, I'd bang the pots and pans together. Is that even effective? I think I just did a wide's tail there. I don't even know if that even matters.
It's not a wide's tail. I'm not going to say it's comparative to a gunshot, because the gunshots, the sound the dog hears is beyond the pitch that we hear.
I was just trying like loud noises equal good.
Exactly. So all you did was start the conditioning process for noise is something to not be afraid of. I do something real similar with puppies with a milk jug and gravel.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a great idea. And then I don't have to like find anything.
Yeah, I mean, the dog that I have at my feet right now, he was 10 weeks old the first time he heard a 9mm. So,
wow, that young, huh? Okay.
I start them from as early as I can.
Yeah, I might change, because I think I waited till they were maybe 12 or 16 weeks before I did the pots and pans the whole time, but before I even was anywhere near guns or anything. So you're saying is go a little bit earlier than I did?
No, I'm not saying you have to start that young at all. This dog showed at that age he was mature enough to go and do that. if he had still been, because some dogs, you know, at 8 to 10 weeks, they're still very skittish, or they haven't had enough of their vaccines and stuff. I just happen to be in a situation where I have a dog who has a super alpha personality. And from the moment he was a puppy, his response to all stimuli has been to look at you and go, and? So I started him particularly young. You always want to make the judgment call based off of how the dog's maturing. If you have a dog that's super skittish, you might have to wait until that dog is easily, you know, maybe you have to wait until they're 20 weeks old to start, you know, until they start to get that self-confidence.
Cool. Thanks, man. Okay, so we trained kids, we trained old people, we trained dogs. What else we got?
We just take our dogs out and let them sit in the car when we're shooting, and eventually they get sick of sitting in the car and they come out and hang out, and then they never cared about guns after that.
There you have it. That works. You know, it's all about getting the dog to not care about the noise and be more interested in something else. That's why, like Woods was saying about the food, or like G saying, you could leave them in the car until they're ready to come out on their own. Both methods will work. You know, I think when we were younger and we were teaching the dogs just for field work, I remember us leaving dogs in the back of the truck, and we did the same kind of thing.
Well, that kept us going for quite a while, but what else we got? Probably should come up with a gun shop. Anybody got a gun shop they've been to recently?
I haven't been there recently. Let me think.
What's the last gun shop you went to?
Well, that was the one I already did. It was Master of Arms, because that's my local shop.
Gary, what's the last gun shop you went to?
Last one I went to was one that was a combination of a pawn shop and a gun shop in the town where my daughter lives, but I wasn't real impressed with the inventory they had there.
Is it the kind of place where they just have what people bring in to pawn, or what they selected from brand new stock wasn't what you're looking for?
They had some new stock, but what they considered new was actually probably 3, 4, 5-year-old models. I could tell that it wasn't anything brand new that they'd got in, so they hadn't bought anything new in quite a while. And it was highly inflated.
Is it by itself in the middle of nowhere, or?
No, it's in town.
But I mean, like the only gun shop within miles, or?
No, I think there's others in town. It's just the only one I've been to so far. I can look it up.
I was trying to figure out how come they got their prices high. Usually it's because they're, you know, they can, or I guess they just don't want to sell their guns. Not everybody's looking to be in the gun business. They just like having an FFL.
Let's see, I think they got a website. It's called the Trading Station.
How much of it ratio-wise was guns to stereos and DVDs or whatever they had?
Probably 10% guns, I would say. So I don't know that it would qualify as a gun shop per se.
Yeah, that's definitely pawn shop material there. Did they have cleaning supplies or targets or anything else besides guns? Ammo?
I don't recall seeing any if they did.
I'd say once a pawn shop starts getting some ammo or some, well, targets for sure, and cleaning supplies and scopes and stuff like that, then you could start calling them a gun shop. Just the pawn stuff, or I mean just the guns and maybe ammo. I don't know if we can, I mean, they're just pawn shops, I think, still. So left to right, you guys have a lot of pawn shops in your area, or no? Cycle? And he's muted. Gary?
Yeah. No, we don't. Connecticut makes it really hard on pawn shops to handle firearms. There's a lot of extra licensing and permitting and paperwork and shit. So we have a few, but most of them are downstate. Most of them are not up where I am. I have a route that I run 3, 4 times a year. And I'll do like the southern part of the state and the eastern part of the state, and I'll make a run and hit 3 or 4 shops in a day, kind of thing. But not a lot of them.
Is it but since there's only a few, they're very large, or there's only a few and they're very small?
A little of both. There's one place that actually has, it's a pawn shop, but it also has a whole separate section just for firearms and targets and ammo and stuff like that. So that's kind of nice. And then I've got other ones where you go down there and whatever they got behind the counter, that's it. Whatever they took in pawn, over the last couple of weeks, that's all they've got hanging around. But those are fun because you never know what you're going to find,
Yeah. Gary, got a lot of pawn shops where you're at, or no?
Well, in the county I'm at, because I'm in a fairly rural county, we don't have any cities over 3,000 in our county, so we really don't have any pawn shops in the county. But if you drive like 25 miles away and you're in Topeka, which is a pretty good sized city, there's all kinds of them. And several of those are fairly gun heavy. In fact, I've saw some that you could almost call a gun shop because they're at least 50% guns. So yeah, if you just drive a few miles, yeah, there's all kinds of them.
About dog?
I've got about 21 pawn shops.
Are you in Vegas or just by you?
By me, I have 3, and then there's another 18 that I know of in Vegas that I go to. They're hit and miss, but sometimes you get really good deals on guns that people pawn off in them.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Vegas got to be crazy. Not only you got Vegas, so you got all those people that are going there to work and, get different kinds of transition there. And then people going there to gamble, of course. I don't know how many times they buy guns. But then all those people at was it Luke? No, what's the name of that Air Force base?
McClellan.
No, it's a smaller, shorter name than that. But anyway, there's a big Air Force base there. And those Air Force bases usually have good pawn shops around them. Or at least big bases or forts will have good pawn shops.
Yeah, see, in Connecticut, it's just the opposite. The gun stores the pawn shops that used to have guns in the big cities are the ones that stopped carrying them. The smaller mom and pop shops that are around in the suburbs and the less the less populated areas are the ones that tend to still carry guns. So it's kind of funny that it's so different here in the Northeast than it is, in the more free zones.
I think you're talking about Nellis Air Force Base?
Yeah, Nellis, thanks.
Yeah. No, and Vegas is like really hit and miss. Like I said, there's the pawn shops that I know about, and most of them will still buy long guns. Not all of them will take handguns anymore, but they'll almost all take long guns, and they're great deals when you walk in because they don't pay much for them when people go to sell them.
So Alex posted this one on the YouTube side, almonds.com. But I was just looking at that main page there. I don't know if I can get it to stop on that picture. Damn. I don't know if there's a way to get it to stop on that picture. But that was a pretty nice looking shop there. Is it screen sharing good? Yeah. So when it comes back up in a minute here to that picture, check out the hallway, the aisle that they're looking down, and look at how they have guns above you, like hanging above you. And then notice there's some homemade pie right there. So I'm looking at all these safes. There's just a bunch of Browning safes, but there's guns all down their racks. But see how there's guns hanging.
That's gorgeous.
Wow.
All these shotguns, and that's on both sides, it looks like. I don't know why this guy's standing here. Handguns all down this side, rifles with scopes and shit. And I don't know what's going on here, but that looks pretty cool. This is in Minnesota. Over 5,000 guns in stock. And then they have some kind of outdoor thing going on here with homemade pie. And there's the building, so it's a pretty big place.
Dude, if I could get a piece of homemade pie and a gun, I am sold.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, pretty nice look, pretty cool looking shop. No other pictures though. Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, closed on Sunday. Yeah, what you can do. All right, so there's a couple of gun shops. And did we get to Woods? You got pawn shops by you?
Oh yeah, we've got tons of them. I never made the connection that they're more as we get closer to Fort Lewis. I know it's called Joe Lewis McCord now, but like on my way to work, because I drove towards the base, there's more of them as I go south. And I could think of just driving to school, I could drive by 4 or 5. And now those ones it's kind of a shady neighborhood, so they're not great. They're not great, but some of them you get, like you said, you get a pretty good deal if you know what you're looking for. But I never noticed that there was more of them as you get closer to the base.
I don't even know if there's more pawn shops near a base, but the pawn shops near a base will have cooler shit sometimes because there's people that go travel the world and get all kinds of interesting stuff. And then they're into guns and uniforms and surplus stuff.
Yeah, I've always found to coincide with what you're talking about, them having cooler stuff, especially if you're into knives and things. Ones near military installations are always better because they have all kinds of cool, weird blades and stuff, as well as guns. All right, then.
All right, so I guess that'll be it. That was a bunch of stuff, and we tried to talk about guns every day. We did it, and also it's 5th anniversary of gun channels. I guess we didn't talk about that very much, but I want to thank the people that did take the time to post some stuff. Gary went out and bought a candle. Somebody else who put the cupcake. That was Patriot put the cupcake or something together.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple other people did some graphics and things. So it's pretty cool. And thanks everybody for being part of the show. People that show up and watch the show live. That's what it's all about. People that listen to the show in the future. You know, we don't know you're out there unless you participate in some way. And using this fancy internet, you don't have to just be an audience. You can be part of the show. Leave us comments out there on the different platforms that you might find it, or get over to Gun Channels and contact us over there. Be part of the other conversations that are going on. I guess you can always email us at dailygunshow@gmail.com. Anybody got anything going on you want to talk about before we head out?
Yeah, I'd like to say, happy birthday to Gun Channels. Thank you for making it, G. I'd also like to say that, if you guys are interested in joining in these conversations and you want to get away from the YouTube overlords, check out gunchannels.com, the #1 social media platform for the gun community currently online. Check out guntube.org, which was brought to you by our very own member of Gun Channels, Mr. Nightstrike. And then go on, check over Gunstreamer. Those are both beautiful alternatives for you. Check out alternative platforms like BitChute. If you want to talk about dogs, check me out at muscledogmafia.com. And check out all of your favorite content creators, especially your 2A content creators. And show them some love and give them some likes.
Very cool. We also want to throw anything out there?
I'd like to add what Dog said is go over, and if you're watching this show and you're not part of Gun Channels, what are you doing? Go over and join. There's some really great people there. I've learned so much in the 6 months I've been around that I can't even believe it. So it's a great community, and happy channelversary.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, to add on that, it's not an app. It's not some kind of functionality. It's not a beautiful, fancy, state-of-the-art anything. It's just a bunch of people, and you use the platform to get together and chat and share pictures, share stories, and when necessary, all pull on the rope in the same direction. So yeah, it's been a great ride. Looking forward to 5 more.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.